What's going on, my friends? Josh Motteshed here with the Motteshed Lending Group. Hopefully you are doing fantastic. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in today. We appreciate it. This is the #1 place to get mortgage industry related information. And when tuning into our channel, you will get information on educational how-tos, market updates, and tips and tricks on how to navigate the financing process. In today's video, we're going to give you a market recap with last week's economic news. Stay tuned. Okay, so this is by the numbers. So business survey, which I'll touch on this in a second, showed 528,000 new jobs, okay? 528,000. So versus household survey. Now what's the difference? The difference between those is this. A household showed 179,000. Now the business survey monitors new jobs listed. It doesn't tell you whether or not they're part-time jobs or full-time jobs. So you could, for example, have a person working a full-time job, and in that 528,000, that same person has applied for a second part-time job, be it 4 hours a week or 10 hours a week, right? So the numbers are skewed in terms of the new jobs that have been created, which through the numbers on Friday, which also changed the market in terms of the interest rates a little bit, but we can talk a little bit more about that. But now, the second piece of this is this. How does it impact me? How does it impact you? So in terms of an interest rate adjustment from last week's numbers, and as far as forecast, we'll touch on some of that here in the future, but as far as forecast and payment difference, check it out. So I'll throw some graphics in here as well. They should be somewhere down, up, or somewhere once I edit this video. But example, if you had a $500,000 loan for a no cost rate, right? Which means par rate, so that interest rate was no cost to get it and there's no rebate to provide a credit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it, but all you need to take away is this, is that for that same exact interest rate at $500,000, it would have cost you from the morning of Friday or the close of Thursday last week to the end of day Friday, that same exact interest rate would have cost you $3,000, okay? $3,000. Now, let's talk a little bit about where we're going. Now, if any of you have watched any of my videos in the last 6 months, you've heard me talk about this thing called inflation. We know what inflation is probably, right? You drive around, you see it by filling up your gas tank, you see it by going to the grocery store, assuming you're not doing whatever it is, Instacart, right? Which, oh my God, has saved our lives. But probably not our lives, because if Jody's watching this, she'd probably laugh at me and say, that's not true, because babe, you know, I do the grocery shopping. Anyway, shall I digress? So if any of you guys have been watching the news at all, right? You are seeing what this whole inflation thing looks like. The feds don't want to see people spending as much money right now at the end of the day. So you have to recognize that. If you don't, you're sitting under a rock, right? Your head's in the sand a little bit. The inflationary numbers are so high. What does that mean? So simply put, look at the housing market year over year. Look at some of you that are sitting on the fence going, I don't know if I should do anything just yet. I don't know if I should buy. Should I wait? Should I not? Etc. So taking all that into account, the feds are not thrilled at the fact that even though, a month ago, we were seeing about a 6%, 5.75% to 6% rate, for some, we're probably a little bit under that, but nonetheless, now we're locking loans at high 4s, low 5s, depending upon the type of loan. So the feds didn't really anticipate that happening. So when they increased the federal funds rate back in July, up another 0.75%, which mind you, there was 6 anticipated rate hikes set for this year and upwards of 0.5 to 0.75% each time in order to help curb inflationary numbers to bring them down, right? So that the consumer stops spending money. But the translation to the housing market is it's gonna slow the rate of inflation on these homes. Not to the point where it's gonna go negative, right? So the house you buy today at $500,000 is not going to be less than $500,000 in 12 months. I mean, I don't wanna say mark my words, but I would highly anticipate that that's not going to happen. we're probably going to see between 5 and 7% rate of growth year over year. And not only that, from a buyer's perspective, you as a buyer, if you're a buyer or a seller, it's relative, but as a buyer, you have the ability to consider buying and not have to worry about the massive competition that you were dealing with before. So don't stress, my friends. It's all going to be okay. The market will come back around. It's coming back around. The interest rates aren't the end of the world. As a friend of mine who's in the industry, Nick, he says, don't marry your mortgage. That is so true. Nick, good call, bro. But he's right. Don't marry your mortgage, because at the end of the day, you can change it. Our goal is not ever to do 2 loans, right? Or put you in a loan today and then refinance you down the road. But if we can get you in today and get you a good rate that is, puts you in a position where the payment is comfortable, then move forward, right? Because you can refinance that property in the future. Because why? The rates aren't going to be this way forever. So anyway, guys, we'll do a recap next week on market update for this week. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Subscribe, click, like, do whatever you need to do. Comment if you need to. Positive comments only, so we appreciate that. You guys have a great one, and we'll talk to you soon.